Hey, so many people ask me how does cacao feel, like ceremonial cacao. And I realized I never actually made a video about how I feel, like what comes for me when I drink cacao. And so I want to share a little bit about that. So I think first and foremost, I don't know if it's foremost, at least this is the first thing that comes. It's like cacao for me is so damn tasty. So there's like, for me, an experience of um, getting filled by nourishment, like filled in my body, filled in my taste buds. There's really my senses come in, right? The smell and the taste and the texture and the heat, and so it really goes into my body. Like physically, it goes into my body, but it also helps me go into my body versus being in my mind or meditating that way out. You could say then cacao really goes into the body for me. Um, I feel, and so depending on what kind of cacao, so here it's very different for me. Peruvian cacao versus like Mexican versus Guatemalan, like, and also between them, like what energies has it been made with, how roasted is it, how fermented is it, like there's a big difference of kind of which direction I go, right? So it's all kind of within the same world of cacao, but the world, it's like it's different places on the map, so to speak. I so I get I feel very energetic in my body, that everything expands, right? And you could talk about all the physicalities of cacao and why that does that. Sure. And that's also something that I speak in my cacao apprenticeships and our mini online course and those kind of things. But like my felt experience is really that things expand. I can feel it beyond my physical form. It's like everything kind of starts melting or weaving a little more into what's around me. And so that's part of why I talk about cacao as a door opener, because I really feel that quality of opening the doors into everything, basically. So, into the moment, into the slowness, into ceremony, into the plants around me, into the sounds, into my body. It's really like opening up. So, depending on where my intention goes, what where I am in my cycle, in my moon cycle, what energy is on in the world, that really kind of opens up a different world. For me, cacao is also very colorful. So when I close my eyes, I see different patterns and different colors, also depending on what cacao it is. So some feels more, I was about to say jungly than others, but I mean, it's all have a obviously kind of a jungle quality, but that's the best way I can describe it. Um, I also can get my heart starting to beat a little faster, and I definitely have a drop, and that's like really the classical drop in the blood sugar, right? But that comes at the end where that's kind of a really important place for me where I can either go deeper into it. Usually that's like Eva 4 year old is like, I want to me. So there's like processes that can really come out there, and if I'm really holding it, if I'm really having a loving awareness on it, that can bring up some beautiful things and like bring it in. And if I'm stressing around it, that can bring kind of a ding 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 energy. So that's the time for me of really like, okay, am I gonna eat something or am I gonna sit with it, right? A thing that I've noticed that can very easily happen for me on cacao, and I don't know if that's like really a me thing or a very human thing or like a projector thing. I think it's kind of a mixture of it all. But that is, I can easily, because it opens me up, it also opens up my mind, right? My creativity expands, my imagination expands, and I love that. I feel like that's so much what plants do in general. When we connect with the plant consciousness, it like brings us from looking like this to looking like that. And but what it then can do is that my mind can trick me. So sometimes it's creativity and it's like, whoa, this thing. It's like, okay, let's create something. let's work with this energy. So I go into doing mode of like, oh, this thing, and it could be like writing something or playing a song or like doing something in the garden. But very often it goes towards work, and like Mighty Tree, it's such a love child for me, right? And this is where my mind can kind of trick me into being like, oh, see, which is creative, when it's actually my distraction mode, when it's actually kind of a fight or flight away from being with what is there and what I need to sit with, and being like, no, no, let's be creative, let's go out and do something. And so here's like really an important distinction of like, is this really the flow, or is this me distracting myself from the flow that actually goes this way and might bring me into something a little more uncomfortable than what part of me wants to deal with right now. So that's a very normal thing for me too, just noticing, right, and navigating with. I can feel very lightheaded and like soft in my body. It can also almost go towards, a beginning of a flu. It's not a flu, but it's like that feeling where all the muscles and all the joints are kind of a little, how to say that in English? They're just like a little sore. That can almost come for me on Cacao, and it's a different quality than getting a flu, but it's this space. And I also have quite some experiences, like what is a lot, but at least I get it, where I go into the space of Cacao, I really like go deep into it, and then it's almost like falling asleep. I can fall asleep as well, which is perfect and fine, but it's like this kind of going so down, dvale, you would say in Danish, but it's like so close to sleep, and it's just like keeping me there on that vibration. And that for me is such a healing space, right? That's where everything in us can just like just watching the grass grow, basically. And that for me is a space, it's rest, right? It's actually rest, but not necessarily sleep, but like really like that is also super precious for me in this space, and I really feel it in my body. Yeah, so these are some of the more like physical, or like, I don't know, it was what came up right now. Some of the experiences that I have with Cacao. Obviously, there's a lot of more kind of expanses, and we could say spiritual, or like contact with energies, but that's not what I'm gonna go into on this video. So thanks for listening. I hope it can kind of help you open up some more doors of what you can experience, and which is why I'm creating these videos, to kind of help expand for other people as well. Okay, bye.